Hi and welcome to today's reading. Today's reading I'm pulling in the energy of jealousy, potentially jealousy within friendship groups, jealousy within family groups, especially when one person is seen to have been more prosperous than somebody else within, as I said, a friendship group or a family group. Could even be a workplace. And there's lots of internal fighting and battles going on because of this underlying, potentially unspoken jealousy. Now, the card that I was seeing when I was preparing for this reading was the Five of Wands, which is Saturn and Leo. It's fire energy. It's battling with, in the original drawing of that card, it's 5 people battling. 5 siblings, 5 workmates, 5 friends. So I've done a pre-shuffle for your reading. And I think this is your energy and the underlying around the people that are battling you and potentially taking advantage of you because of their perceived notion that, when I did the pre-shuffle, I got the Wheel of Fortune, which is Jupiter. Jupiter is expanding. And actually, Jupiter and the sun and the moon are in alignment at the moment. The sun is actually shining very, very brightly on Jupiter. So when you think about Jupiter, Jupiter is luck. If the sun is shining on you and if you are Jupiter, there's a perception that you've had luck. But at the moment, and I think for the next few days, Jupiter is actually very, very close to the moon in the sky. The moon is emotion. It's things that are hidden. It's a hidden jealousy and a belief, I want to say, from other people around you that because you have been lucky, that they're entitled to take advantage. So if this reading is resonating with you, stick around. A bit about me first. I'm an intuitive tarot reader. I pick up on energy prior to a reading. I will then come and use my tarot and oracle decks to further clarify the message. I've got leaves falling off the tree outside. And actually, when I started this reading, a huge big dragonfly flew past. Now, if you've watched my other readings recently, I was just reading some things about dragonflies because I keep seeing them in my garden. A female dragonfly, and not gender specific in terms of, your gender, but a female dragonfly plays dead when it's mating season so as not to attract the attention of unwanted suitors. I'm thinking that you have started to put boundaries up to people. So as I said, all my readings are timeless. If this reading resonates with you, please give it a like. If you haven't already, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you can be notified of future readings. All of the decks that I use on my channel are my own designs because I am also an illustrator. If you call to any of those, the links can be found in the description box. Now, last night, and I didn't sleep very well. You may not be sleeping because of potential conflict and trying to find a way to navigate through it. And I just heard Cardinal of Truth. Now, that was a reading that I did maybe a week and a half ago, but the cardinal signs are Capricorn, Libra, Aries, and Cancer. And I know that the recent full moon, it's the 18th of November today, the recent full supermoon had a big effect on the cardinal signs. So if you have those as your sun sign or your moon sign or any prominent positions in your chart, this may be something that you are going through, coming through some sort of truth about, I want to say, how people around you are siphoning your energy because energy, spiritually, financially, emotionally, because of their perceived notion that because you have been granted more, been more successful, perhaps even you've got an expanded mind, meaning that you're more stable and they're potentially not. So they siphon your energy, which then becomes a drain on you. And you're coming to some sort of realization about this, or you're putting up boundaries. So we had the Wheel of Fortune was the card. Now the dream that I had was, and it was very peculiar. As I said, I haven't been sleeping, so I've been going in and out of sleep, but I've been waking up and then not being able to get back to sleep. And there's a hornet making a nest in the window frame of where I sit and do my readings. Now this is obviously my home, and there's a hornet making a nest in my home. And if I was to go out there now and try and take that nest away, obviously hornets sting. It's going to attack me, even though it's my home. So the dream that I had was, and it's a tarot reader on YouTube. Lovely, lovely lady. But in my dream, she was in between houses and she had asked to stay for a night or two because wherever she was headed wasn't ready yet. And I said, yes, that's fine. Made up the spare bed. But then what happened was she brought in her big coffee machine and sat it next to my coffee machine and unplugged mine from the power point and plugged hers in. She brought in her washing machine and her dryer and she unplugged mine and popped hers in. I had all this water about this deep all through my house because she'd used all the towels, because she'd let the water overflow in the bathroom, in the bath, and so she'd used all the towels and then dragged all these wet, like sodden towels. So there was water all through my house. So people in my family were slipping over. She left the gate open, so the dog got out. And I was trying to make sense of the messages when I woke up about what does that actually mean? Because in the end of the dream, she'd only been there a couple of hours and she sort of still had, 48 hours worth of staying with us. And I just said, get out, enough, get out. And like that hornet, like I said, building a nest in my home, if I was to go out and try and remove it, I would get stung. And this was the way this lady in the dream reacted. Now, as I said, she's a beautiful lady. So somebody that's come in to your life with the outward appearance of nice, caring, respectful, but once they've actually stepped in, crossed over the boundaries that you would normally put up for people, that's when they've taken advantage. And the problem there is that you then have to, and if you're like me, my son is in Libra. I am a peacemaker. I do not like to argue. I will try a million different ways to get my point across without being confrontational. So for me in that dream, when I literally let loose at this woman and just said, get out, get your washing machine, your dryer, your coffee machine, everything, and get out, she actually came back to me with almost a scorpion tongue. Was a snake's tongue, a stinger, and almost played the victim. You might be having somebody in your life playing the victim because you're putting boundaries up. Now, I keep getting all these biblical references, and if you've been watching my readings, you'll notice over the last couple of weeks, I've been doing a bit more in-depth research into the links between stories in the Bible and they're linking with tarot cards. Because I get these messages and then I'm like, well, how do I connect that? So in the pre-shuffle, as I said, I was getting the Five of Wands, and I've got this book that I bought which references stories within the Bible that align with tarot cards. Now the Five of Wands, it was hilarious because I thought, oh, well, that all makes sense. And it's often what happens as you start to sort of peel back the layers of a message. The story in the Bible is Joseph and his jealous brothers. The Five of Wands, it's Genesis 37:27, if you want to look it up. And essentially, it's about the fact that Joseph is the favored son of his father. His brothers think that he gets special treatment, and more so because Joseph had this dream that he would rise to prominence over them. So there's jealousy there. In that story, they're so jealous that they actually sell him into slavery, and that in fact is a catalyst for his rise, because he goes from slave to high-ranking official, and eventually he reconciles with his family. But that story essentially talks about the dynamics between families. Now, as I said, it could be families, it could be workplaces. I mean, there's always somebody who wants more than what they have, and is jealous of anything that you have acquired. But it's about conflict, competition, tension, because you've got something that they don't have, and rather than going out and doing it for themselves, they're trying to take a piece of the pie. They're trying to take a piece of your pie, the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, let's pull some cards. Let's have a look at, this is my Divine Messages Oracle deck. What's the message from your guides about this situation? We've got impenetrable energy, karmic cycle, and perfect match. So it's lessons that, and I just heard protagonist and antagonist. It's a soul contract that you have with whoever it is around you, whereby that competition, that jealousy, that boundary stepping is meant to teach you to put up boundaries, impenetrable energy. Perfect match, meaning that you wouldn't learn that lesson unless somebody overstepped a boundary. Because you can sit here and you can go, oh, well, you know, if I was really successful in my career. And actually my husband uses the example all the time. He says to me, he said, oh, if we ever win the lotto, he said, I wouldn't tell a soul, because people would come and take advantage. But the reality is that you can't put yourself in a bubble. If you won the lotto, it would be obvious on the outside, I would imagine, especially to those close to you, that you have more, or what they perceive as more. I mean, to me, spiritual health and spiritual wealth is more important than financial wealth. But they almost need to see that, because the hardest boundaries to put up are with those that are closest to you, because they're the ones that are most likely to take the most advantage, and for you to be, I guess, a bit blindsided too. Perfect match, meaning that it's hidden. That's the next door neighbor using a power saw. What's the meaning in that? I apologize for the noise. I will work out what that meaning is. Okay, let's have a look at the energy around you. Actually, let's get you an angel. What angel is working with you during this particular, I want to say, predicament? Whoa. Okay, 22. That 22, number 22 is intuition. Now, I've got a whole playlist of the rise of the divine feminine. Divine feminine energy is what collectively we are all raising, our internal divine feminine energy, which is intuition. It's not gender specific. We all hold divine feminine and divine masculine energy within. Look at that. Fortune, fame, and new ventures. The Three of Cups is what that angel aligns with. Some sort of celebration that you have had that people are trying to take advantage of. Fortune, fame, and new ventures. Even, I even think of And that is really annoying. So I do apologize. Hopefully it's not coming through too loud. Even if you've started a business or you're doing something and you're doing well, and then you have a family member who says, oh, such and such, or your nephew or your niece or your cousin hasn't got work at the moment. Can you get him a job? And then you have to say no. And so you effectively look like the baddie. People overstepping their boundaries. 22, intuition. That playlist, and it is linked in the description box. There's 22 readings in total. And it's about, all of the readings are about tapping into divine feminine energy, which is using your intuition. All different tarot readings about different situations. I was pulling in the energy of all of these beautiful divine feminine people, from women from history, pulling in the energy of each of them and how they tapped into their own divine feminine energy. And a lot of those readings are about the boundaries that you need to put up. Fame, fortune, and new ventures. Now, divine contemplation. Asalia, number 47, which is the Seven of Cups, which is a card about choices. Contemplation. Who you let in to your life. Who you put boundaries up to. Who is taking advantage. New connection. That card that slid off the top. New connection. It might even be new people that just appear because they see you as fortunate or as having something that they want. Maybe it's perceived that you have more than enough that you can share it around. Or that notion, you know, when you go out to dinner, potentially, let's just use siblings as an example. When you go out to dinner, and because you maybe earn the most out of all of your siblings, they assume that you're going to foot the bill. Or if you go out for drinks and you say, I'll get the first round, and you get everybody a drink, and then you get these people that are like, oh yeah, I'm not staying too long now. And then they go home before it's their turn to shout the next round. It's that sort of thing. You might have family members, and I've seen this happen. You might have family members where Christmas comes around or birthdays come around, and they know that their kids are gonna get presents. So they send out a list of all the things potentially that their kids want for Christmas, hoping that the higher ticket items are picked up by other people that are perceived to have more money. And then the last things on the list, which may be the small, inexpensive things, are the things that they end up getting for their kids. It's interesting that that Christmas, because when I was doing the pre-shuffle, I was thinking about people that come and stay at Christmas time. And it happens all the time. We often do Christmas here. I've got a large family, but I've got a big entertaining area. Do you often hear stories about, you know, people that put on Christmas lunch, but then people are still hung around at dinner time, and you're wanting to kind of clear away, but people are there because you've got, it's overstepping boundaries because of a perception that you have more. Okay, let us get some cards. Let's find out about the energy around you in this situation. The moon. The moon is what's hidden. Coming through, and I don't necessarily think it's for this reading. I know what it's for another reading that I'm hoping to do today, but I was hearing bad moon rising. I see a bad moon rising. I feel trouble on the way. Don't go out tonight. It's bound to save your life. There's a bad moon on the way. It's hidden. Somebody that infiltrates your space. And then you have to essentially go into battle to remove them. It's part of a karmic cycle, impenetrable energy, part of a karmic cycle where you are meant to learn boundaries and perhaps understand people around you who really truly love you and support you would be happy for you. They wouldn't be trying to take advantage. What do we have here? New connection. Maybe it sets you on the path of finding other people who perfect match, other people who aren't so, I want to say, materially focused. Okay, let's have a look. What's happening for you? I wanted to say, how do people perceive you? But we've got fortune, fame, and new ventures, and the Wheel of Fortune. What do you show to people on the outside? What do they see? The world. Okay. The world is karmic completion. The world is Saturn. I want to say that people think that because of your perceived wealth, your perceived spiritual wealth, your whatever you've done to elevate yourself, they perceive it as that you've reached the top. If I go back to the pie, and that actually looks like a pie. You've put all the ingredients together, you've baked the pie, and now it's come out of the oven. And they've come in to take a slice. Under the guise, the moon, of you've got enough to share around. What's happening in the soul for you? The Hangman. That is an epiphany. The Hangman is Neptune. The Hangman in the traditional tarot is somebody who turns themselves upside down to get a different perspective. Maybe you go and have a piece of, maybe you go to have a piece of your pie and realize that 4 or 5 slices are taken, and all that hard work that you put into making it. And I want to say that the hard work that you put into making it, because in that dream that I had, this woman in my house had little or no respect for my home. As I said, there was water all through my house. She let the dog out, and it's because they've had no part in the baking process. They don't understand that maybe you, just say you're making a cherry pie, that you grew the cherries on a tree in your backyard for 3 years, and the first 2 years the tree didn't fruit, but on the 3rd year it did, and so you handpicked those cherries, and then you took the time to sort of, you made the pastry by hand. Everything was done. The world. Everything was done. Every little step was done by you. And so they've come and taken a piece without understanding the work that's gone involved, the work that's gone in. The moon. What's hidden? They just see a lovely piece of pie. And you are part of the karmic cycle that you're in with this person or these people. You're starting to realize that they're taking advantage. 4 of Pentacles, that's the Sun in Capricorn, is what the deck wanted to split on. Now, in the traditional context of that card, it's somebody holding on to something. So for you, the Hangman, the epiphany that you need to potentially be a little more, it's the card of the miser. Hold on to what you've earned. Create boundaries, impenetrable energy. Because of, I want to say not vampires, vultures. Vultures around you. But that's the 4 pieces of pie. Sun in Capricorn, something that you've built that somebody's trying to steal for themselves without having put any work or effort in. Because they think they're entitled. Oh, look at that on the bottom, the devil. Somebody toxic around you. Now that's also Capricorn energy, but I don't think that's you. Well, no, that's not you. Okay, let's get a message from the man upstairs. That card wants to come out, but we'll wait. The 2 of Cups. That's a soulmate card, but you have karmic soulmates, and you have karmic soulmates are soulmates that you learn lessons from. But you also have soulmates, romantic and platonic, that will align with you once you learn those lessons. Once you learn how to put up boundaries. The Two of Cups, which is Venus in Cancer. Ten of Swords on the bottom, Sun in Gemini. Yeah, people that have really taken advantage. That's a card of being stabbed in the back, and we've got the Five of Cups on the split. People that have emotionally taken advantage, taken your kindness as a weakness, is what I just heard. Divine contemplation is the Hangman. The Seven of Cups, the illusion of people around you who have taken your kindness for weakness. What's the final outcome here? Because we've got the World, the Four of Wands. You're on a new journey, a new path. The Two of Wands is making plans. The Three of Wands is stepping into the unknown. And the Four of Wands is you're actually on the road. This is a celebration. Aligning potentially with new soulmates, but it's because you've completed this karmic cycle. Now, as I said, these readings are past, present, future energy. They're timeless. So you may be going through this at the moment. It may be something that is coming towards you, and your guides have guided you to this reading because there's pieces of information in here for you, or you may have already gone through it and you're maybe in divine contemplation mode. We've just had Saturn in Pisces. Saturn is, and it was retrograde for the last couple of months. Saturn is looking back at the karmic lessons, spiritual karmic lessons, because Pisces is spirituality. The spiritual karmic lessons that you have experienced, karmic cycle, through whatever karmic cycle you have been in. The full moon or the super moon that was in Taurus on the 15th of November, I think, what did I say, we're the 18th today, and depending when this reading goes up. A white feather has just floated. I don't know what the spiritual meaning of white feathers are. Just floated past the window. If you know what it is, leave it in the comments. And I've lost my train of thought. The full moon in Taurus. That's Venus in Aries. On the same day that the full moon was in Taurus, which was the 15th of November, Saturn went stationary. Now, stationary is these big, almost shining a light on those lessons, the big aha moments, divine contemplation, dream messages. Pisces is our dreamy energy. The boundaries that you've put up, the boundaries that you need to put up. We've got the World here, which suggests to me that you're either in the middle of doing it and you're making a stand, or you've already done it. Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment on the bottom. Now, the Nine of Cups is the Jupiter in Pisces, Jupiter. And Pisces is looking at the spiritual aspect of something, getting spiritual enlightenment, divine contemplation, using your intuition, number 22, to perhaps get a broader understanding of why you had to experience those things with those people. It was about a bigger journey that you are about to embark on, I want to say, because the World card here flicks back to the Fool, a new journey that you're about to embark on. And perhaps on this new journey, your fortune, spiritual, financial, emotional, will actually increase. And so you have to learn how to have your energy become impenetrable, because where you're headed, there'll be more vultures, I want to say. Interesting. Okay, let's get some clarification on this moon, this hidden energy around you. Death and rebirth. It's an end to it. Putting an end. Yeah, look at that. The Ten of Swords. Now that card, the Death card, is Scorpio. It's also Pluto. A big overhaul. Pluto is revolution. A big overhaul in terms of the people that you hang around or the people that are in your energy and how they use and abuse, I want to say. The Ten of Swords is the end. That's the sun in Gemini. It's an epiphany. Gemini, two-faced. The two-faced people around you. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, portraying themselves as one way in order to tap into some sort of energy, spiritual, financial, emotional, mental energy that you have harnessed and that you are using to build financial wealth, spiritual wealth, emotional wealth. And you're putting an end to it. The World. Page of Pentacles on the bottom. That's the card of the student. Mercury in Virgo. You know, I've got that little wasp and he's back and or a hornet, a wasp, I don't know what it is. And he's flying around, and he's trying to build a nest. And behind him is like there's another wasp, but it's a different type of wasp. And he's coming up right behind where the bigger wasp is building the nest. He's almost scoping the joint in the hope that when the big wasp flies away, he can maybe take over the house that the big wasp is building, which is what I said before. These lessons that you're learning in how to put up boundaries with people who are taking advantage of you is because we've got the World card here. Where you are going, these lessons that you're learning, where you are going, there's going to be even more crafty. Now they're almost fighting. There's going to be even more crafty people waiting in the wings. And if you think about it, I was trying to work out what that stupid saw that's being used is. It's the sound of a wasp. Obviously, it's the sound of the saw, but there's more. There's where you're headed. There's bigger wasps. How interesting. Okay, let's have a look at this World card. Where you are currently in your life. The Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is resilience. And I think about, there's a story in the Bible of Job, and basically Satan says to God, I'm going to test the faith of somebody. I'm going to show you that I can destroy somebody's resilience and destroy their faith. And God says, okay, give it a go. And so Satan basically comes, and Job is a wealthy man. He loses all his fortune. Some of his children die. I think he gets maybe does he get leprosy? He gets some sort of illness. But his faith, perseverance, his faith is unshaken. He perseveres, even though he's literally lost everything. You may have lost. Being around these people may have cost you something. Financially, spiritually, emotionally. If I think about that woman in my dream, I had 2 inches of water all through my house. All my timber floorboards were all buckled. There's been some sort of heartbreak here. But in the end, what happened was Job kept his faith, understood that these lessons were part of a karmic cycle in order to almost elevate him further. And in the end, after the lesson was finished, with the World card here, which is the end of a karmic cycle, he was then given blessings, financial, fortune, all of these things back, but tenfold, because he had persevered. Okay, let's have a look. What else? That's the original card that came through when I was first channeling the messages for this reading. The Five of Wands, competition. Persevered through the competition. It's somebody who's not giving up. The Five of Wands, Joseph and his jealous brothers. Okay, let's have a look at the Hangman. I'm so sorry about that noise. Hopefully it's not coming through. Well, you might hear it a little bit, but this is what's happening in the soul. The Seven of Cups, which is this card here, Divine Contemplation. I want to say here that you've got options. That's a card of having options. You've got choices now because, or maybe choices are being afforded to you now. There was a divine test in who you were allowing into your life and how much you were giving or how much they were taking. And potentially here with that story of Job, after he passed that test, he was then afforded double, triple, tenfold of what had been taken away because he passed the test. You don't get that double, triple, quadruple, tenfold of what has been taken away until you prove to a higher power, to God, that your energy is impenetrable. And then you get all the blessings, you get all the options. Seven of Cups. It's almost like God saying to you, right, you've got to drive this, I don't know, Honda Prius just came to mind. You've got to drive this Honda Prius for 10 years. And once you've shown me that you can take care of it and you can do all the right things and look after it, and maybe your brothers will drive it and they'll crash it and, you know, but if you've done the right thing and we can see that you've learnt the lesson, or I can see that you've learnt the lesson, then you're going to be gifted a Ferrari. The Star, fated on the bottom. Okay, and the Two of Cups. The Ace of Pentacles on the bottom. But the Two of Cups and Nine of Cups, the Two of Cups here. I knew I saw it before. The Four of Wands. If this for you, because there's a side energy coming through of a relationship. Now, soulmates can be romantic, they can be platonic. But the people that you are aligning, this is the hidden message from the man upstairs. The people that you're aligning with, that's often seen as the wedding card. And we've now got it coming out here. But as I said, can be romantic, can be platonic. The people that you are aligning with, the people that are now coming in because you've learnt that lesson, weren't allowed to come near you until you'd learnt that lesson, is what I want to say here. Because if you are bringing with you on this journey, with you on this alignment of this new soul family who've potentially already learned the lesson of putting up boundaries, recognizing 22, using their intuition, recognizing people who are taking advantage. And I think about even at school or at university or whatever you're doing, if you have group work, and this used to happen to me all the time in school. We would have a group assignment in art class, and all the kids that weren't so good at drawing or weren't so good at being I always had really great ideas come to me fairly quickly. I knew exactly what I wanted to do and I knew how to execute it. And so you do a group assignment and you'd have all these people coming and wanting to be part of your group because they were trying to do less work and have you do the majority of it. Now, I was happy to do it because I'm creative and I love that sort of stuff. But then you start to realize that you're being taken advantage of. So it may be something that you haven't minded so much doing. Something that you've put heaps and heaps of effort into because you genuinely love doing it. But it's about learning how to create those boundaries. Because maybe the people that you are about to align with or will align with in the future, God is like, yeah, we're not having that energy. You're not pulling those karmic soulmates through into this new energy. These new soulmate cycles that you're about to align with. And I want to say too, if these are people that have put up boundaries, they see red flags straight away. I know I do. In fact, I can spot them a mile away, which is probably where you are too. Okay, let's have a look at this Two of Cups here. The message from the man upstairs. Wow, Six of Cups. Something from the past returning. That's the Sun in Scorpio. Potentially soul connections that you've had. Scorpio is death and rebirth. It's Pluto. It's transformation. But it may be, the Six of Cups can be people from past lives that you've been in this cycle with in past lives. Maybe in a past life, you didn't actually get to the point where you had put up boundaries, and this is the lifetime where God basically says, okay, you've shown me now you've put up the boundaries, or you can put up the boundaries. You are now going to have a new beginning in this lifetime with these past soulmates that you didn't get to connect with in a previous lifetime. Ace of Pentacles again on the bottom, a new beginning. Solid, stable. Pentacles are stable. Doesn't have to be financial. But in this instance, what do we have here? Fame, fortune, and new ventures. New connections with people that you're meant to have in this lifetime, but only at a point where you've learnt to put up boundaries. It's also people from the past. You've put up boundaries to people from the past. And I'm thinking of the example here of, if you've got a big family like mine, a lot of kids in my family, and we often combine resources, funds to purchase big presents, say for, 60th, 70th, 80th birthdays, big wedding anniversaries, that sort of thing, Christmas presents for parents or for grandparents. And it used to be the way that those, and this might be something that you experience, that you are always the person that offers to collect all the funds. But then you might have the stragglers who don't pay you for a month or 2 months or 3 months. And then you forget, and they're almost banging on the fact that you forget that they haven't transferred their portion of the gift. Or you might have somebody in your energy who just thinks, oh, well, I can't pay that this week. Such and such will cover that for me. And you're not meant to take that energy into these new connections. What else? That's Mars in Aries. That's the Two of Wands. That's the planning. The planning before you get to the Four of Wands. The planning for new beginnings, but it doesn't involve, or it doesn't include, I want to say, these people from the past. And if it does include them, it only includes them if you set strict guidelines and boundaries. If you said, we're buying this gift for mum and dad for Christmas. And, Christmas is coming out. We're buying this gift for mum and dad for Christmas. This is how much everybody is contributing. The same as, you might have, you're buying gifts at work. Or even, we do Secret Santa here, where everybody buys a gift. And you've spent heaps of money, and then you get some dodgy $5 gift. It's setting the boundaries. This is how much it is. This is when it needs to be paid by. And if you don't do that, then you're not going to be included. And I used to have that happen all the time. I used to run one of the sporting clubs that my kids were in. And we would be collecting money for the coaches' gifts. And a couple of years in a row, we were short because people had said, yes, we're going to pay. And so therefore, I would go out based on the amount of funds that we had been told to expect to receive. And so I would go and buy the gift. Most people would have paid, but there would be, maybe 5 or 6 people that would be like, oh, we'll pay you on Friday. Friday would come around and they wouldn't. And then you would be the one chasing. And that happened a couple of years in a row. And I thought, no, this is ridiculous, because I ended up being hundreds of dollars out of pocket every time. Because I didn't want to rock the boat. I didn't want to have the conflict. And so I just wore the cost. And so then I started sending the email out that said, if you want to be included in the coach's gift, the money needs to be in by Friday. Otherwise your name won't be included on the card. Well, they paid quick smart because they didn't want to be perceived as, and it was usually the people who were in the coach's ear every afternoon after training. So they were taking, but then were the last to pay, or would be a no-show in paying when it came to the coach being given a gift. And so if their name didn't appear on the card, and the coach would read the card, then they knew that for the following 12 months, the coach would have it in their mind. Well, hang on a minute, this parent is coming up every afternoon after the training session, and I'm giving. I've just trained their kid for 2 hours, and then I'm spending 20 minutes, half an hour talking to this person, and they can't even be bothered to put some money in for a gift for Christmas. It's that whole taking pieces of the pie without contributing anything. The Four of Wands. Interesting that came through. Okay, that's too many cards. We've got the Four of Wands and the Four of Wands. I want to say the connections that you're building, the connections that you're releasing, and the connections that you're building. The Knight of Cups is the Sun in Scorpio. No, it's not. It's the Moon in Scorpio. It's illumination. Death and rebirth. This is the final outcome here. You've had illumination to the hidden motives of people around you, I want to say. The Moon in Scorpio. The Sun in Scorpio, the Moon in Scorpio. The World. Look at this. Oh, wow, wow. This is beautiful. The World is karmic completion. You're at the end. This is the outcome. The Four of Wands, the Knight of Cups. Being able to offer, the Knight of Cups is being able to offer new soulmates. Seven of Cups here. Being able to offer new soulmates, new connections in your life, the things that are of value to you, without the worry that somebody's going to take advantage, because you are aligning with people who have strong boundaries up. The Fool, new beginnings, and the Justice card. It's divine justice, because you've learned a karmic lesson. And there's celebration. Mercury in Cancer. How beautiful. What's under there? Empress, because you've nurtured yourself. You will be, because you've nurtured yourself, you will now be able to nurture relationships that will nurture you back and not take from you. There's equal give and take. These are the types of people who, if you're having a function, they will send a thank you gift, or they will actually say thank you as an acknowledgement of whatever work you have put in. And even if it's just you going for a coffee, even if it's not financial, and you go and spend some time with them and you have a coffee and a bit of a chat, and they kind of let you know what's been going on in their life, and you give them some emotional, spiritual advice, and you get a genuine thank you at the end, because they realize that it's an energy exchange. It's not about sucking somebody dry. It's about recognizing what somebody is giving and giving in return. And it doesn't have to be financial. And you can be the wealthiest person on the planet and give to something, or give to somebody who has nothing, and you can get more thanks and gratitude from that person And it's more meaningful because they have nothing of equal financial value to give back to you. But what they give to you is a sense of gratitude for what you've given to them. I actually watched it popped up in my feed on YouTube. It was a video of Jennifer Garner, and she had been followed by, she'd gone to the gym. It's from a couple of years ago, I think. She'd gone to the gym and she'd be followed by this paparazzi guy who had been literally following her for days and days and days and days and days. And she was all sweaty and horrible from the gym. Anyway, she was driving along and she saw this guy on the side of the road. He was a middle-aged man in a wheelchair. It was freezing cold. He had no shoes on his feet. She pulled the car over, and the paparazzi kept snapping her, and was absolutely shocked because she got out of her car and she went up to this guy and she asked him his story. And he'd lost his job because of an accident at work just before COVID hit, and then obviously couldn't work. And so he'd lost his house, he'd lost his family, and he was living on the street. He was in a wheelchair because of the accident that he'd had. And she took the time to talk to him. And he was so shocked because he said, nobody ever talks to me. So grateful. And she asked him what size. She said, you know, your feet must be cold. She went and got a pair of socks from the back of her car, and she put them on his feet. She asked him what size his shoes were, and she took her shoes off, but they were too small. So she walked over to the paparazzi guy and she said, do you want to do something kind today? Kinder than photographing me in my gym gear when I'm all sweaty and looking disgusting. Can I buy your shoes? And he was kind of taken back, and he said yes. And so she bought the shoes and she put them on the man, who was grateful. They went and got some blankets and stuff for him because it was freezing cold. She contacted a social worker who then in turn ended up putting him in touch with people, and he's now in housing. So he's not living on the street anymore. And she's now worked for many years with that particular photographer, who has since changed from chasing celebrities and now photographs homeless people to bring awareness to homelessness in that particular part of America and raise money to get these people off the streets. And I'll find the video and I'll link it, 'cause it's very beautiful. The whole thing is very beautiful. Justice, the Fool, a new beginning, the world, a karmic lesson that you've learned. Aligning, that photographer, he learned a karmic lesson as well in that experience. And maybe you teach the people who were taking advantage a lesson as well, because the end of that story, which was Joseph and his jealous brothers, they all ended up coming together in the end because they all learnt a karmic lesson. The front side of it and the back side of it. Because one person, through divine contemplation, that's you, learn how to put up boundaries. Okay, let's get intuition. Number 22, intuition. Have a look at that divine feminine playlist. Sorry, I had a blank then. 22 is intuition. Tapping into your divine feminine energy in order to put up boundaries, in order to grow and evolve. Bigger things coming your way. Because you learn about the lack of respect that other people have for you and how to put up boundaries towards it. Yes. Yes to the messages, confirmation, but yes in terms of perhaps you've been a yes person. And what I would say with people that are yes people, and I was one of these, if you always say yes, then people that are looking to take advantage will come to you first because you're an easy target. Oh, I'll just give such and such a ring. They'll help me out. Maybe it's somebody borrowing money. They'll help me out. I can stay at theirs for a couple of days, which turns into a couple of weeks, which turns into a, them moving their dryer and washing machine and coffee machine in. They say yes straight away. Because if they were to approach somebody who says no, it would be a harder grind. Probably take me a couple of phone calls and a bit of wrangling, a bit of emotional manipulation to get somebody who I know is going to say no. I'm going to have to worm my way a bit to get them to say yes to me. Why would I waste all that time when I can ring this person, you, because you always say yes. And you say yes because they're your friend, your brother, your workmate. They don't get paid till Friday. It'll only be a couple of nights. You're the yes person, and they're using it to their advantage, and it's a lesson that you've learned. Patience and perseverance on the bottom. What else? Struggling with personality patterns. Too nice, too kind. Love is the greatest healer. And witchcraft, their magic isn't working. Witchcraft is, if you think about it, somebody putting a spell. And it's emotional blackmail is what I want to say. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde coming across as one way because they want to take advantage. Tying up loose ends on the bottom. That's you. It's karmic completion. The world. The fool, justice. They've taken you for a fool. But not anymore. Okay, let's get you a moon. Anything else? Unleash the serene vibes of the disseminating moon and just take a big relaxing breath. You're at the end of the cycle. You've learned the lessons you're meant to learn with these people. Their magic isn't working. They're not taking advantage anymore. Impenetrable energy. Okay, let's get you a Nodes of Destiny card. The South Node in the 4th house, which is Cancer. South Node kicking back in the 4th house, breaking away from the cozy family mess. I'm going to start again. South Node, 4th house. South Node kicking back in the 4th house, breaking away from the cozy family nest might be tough, but it's time to spread those wings, break free from relying on others or having others rely on you, and chase after your unique life mission. It's like our spiritual snuggly spot, what we got to let go of to blossom into our best selves. So it might be family here, and you've got to walk away in order to create those boundaries. South Node is what you are releasing. Okay, let's have a look and see if there's a song that gives us any more information about what's going on here. Unforgettable in every way and forevermore. That's how you'll stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too. Nat King Cole. Now, sometimes when cards come out, it may be something that I'm not picking up on. I'm kind of not getting... That might be in a movie that aligns with the messages in this reading. Might be about a soulmate that you're aligning with. In every way and forevermore, that's how you'll stay. It could be about the karmic lessons that the people around you that you've put up boundaries to are learning. I remember that time when our boss used to take us out and pay for everybody. I'll never forget that because now I have to pay for that myself. Interesting. Okay, let's have a look. This is my love messages deck, but I'm going to take it as messages from your higher self. There are some romantic ones. A melt inside your arms. Opposites attract. That's a perfect match here. That's the two sides of the karmic cycle. Opposites attract. You've attracted, well, it's part of a soul contract that you have with the man upstairs and these particular people in your life, that you were meant to be pulled together so that they could take advantage and you could overgive. I melt inside your arms. You've potentially done it because it's something that you like to do. You like to be generous. You're an overgiver. And so you then attract in these people that take. And if we go back to the original message that was coming through the reading, which was the Five of Wands, it's people that take because they're jealous. What else? I've never forgotten you. They just move on. Vultures just move on to the next person. I want a new beginning with you. And that came out upside down. Vultures just move on to the next person because you're too hard now. Because you put boundaries up. They don't want to rectify a situation because it doesn't serve their interests. They don't want to acknowledge their part in potentially the breakdown of this relationship because you've put boundaries up. Because it doesn't work for them. Especially if they haven't learned the lesson, they will then just move on to the next person. This is tearing me apart, but it came out upside down. Which is you putting up boundaries. It's not affecting you anymore. Impenetrable energy, because you put up boundaries, because you've had that epiphany. You've gone, actually, you know what? These people are taking advantage. Okay, let's get you some Scrabble tiles. Now this could be your first, middle, last initial. It could be somebody that you're dealing with. Just take these as they resonate. And if you notice now, the hornet's actually moved, but the man has stopped with his power saw. They've moved away to the next victim. R and a 1, I and a 1, re. A T and a 1, a J and an 8. An A, India RE, that's a singer. And an O and a 1, a P and a 3, oh, a V and a 4, a Q and a 10, an M and a 3, a G and a 2, an L and a 1, and a B and a 3. Now, I'm just going to get you 3 final cards. Anything else that your guides want to tell you? Which deck do I want to use? I think I want to use that one. Final message, Queen of Wands on the bottom. That's, Queen of Wands is creative, persistent, resilient. There's a new beginning coming for you here because you've passed this test. A new beginning. And part of it is drawing in and he's just come back to sit up beside me. You're drawing in. He's my little soul buddy. Yeah. You're drawing in new soulmates. A new creative journey that you're on. And interestingly, when I started through this whole the past spiritual awakening that I've gone through in the last 4 years, he's 3.5 years old. He actually aligned with our family during that spiritual awakening. You're aligning with soulmates as part of the spiritual awakening that you've been on. Creative, artistic, people that are going to nurture the relationship with you as opposed to take from you. Ooh. I'll try that again. What else? 3 cards, please. Any last messages? of Wands. Joseph and his jealous brothers. The Ten of Pentacles. And the Ace of Wands. The Nine of Swords. What I want to say here is you've lit a fire under anybody around you that is taking advantage of your perceived financial, spiritual, mental wealth. If you think that that's a torch. The Ace of Wands is fire energy. You've lit a match to it. You've done some back burning, I want to say. Cut away the clutter. And it's bringing you a beautiful new beginning. Nine of Swords. Mars and Gemini. The end of sleepless nights. But I want to get one more card on that because what have we got on the bottom? Four of Cups. The end of disappointment. One more on the Nine of Swords. The King of Wands. And the Eight of Wands. The King of Wands, I often take as, and especially in this instance, people that are fake. And actually that song came through fake. Is it? You're so... You and your friends, you're so, swear word, fake. Who sings that song? You've put an end to the fake people around you. You've put an end to the jealousy. The Eight of Wands is communication because you've worked out what's actually going on. Okay. Well done to you is what I want to say. It certainly is liberating. It's a backburn. They often do that in, do they do it in winter here? They backburn before the summer. It's clearing up, tying up loose ends. They burn all the leaf litter and... Was that in this reading? Did I say leaves were falling as I started this reading? They're burning away all the leaf litter. That's what you're doing. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you so much for joining me. If this reading resonated with you, please give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I will list those songs in the description box. There might be more messages in the lyrics of those songs, or perhaps in the music video. And again, it might be that that song is attached to a movie or a TV show which runs parallel to themes that I've been picking up in this reading, which means that there might be a message or a bit of guidance in whatever that movie is. If you do think of any movies that those songs attach to, please leave them in the comments just in case there's other people looking for more clarification. If you're called to any of my tarot or oracle decks, the links to those can be found in the description box. Thanks again for joining me, and I will see you again in another reading.